We have 5 guests here at the North American Bear Center. 2 of them face this pond. 1 of them is stationary. 1 can pan, tilt, and zoom. The other 2 are on dens, 1 on Holly Bears and 1 on Ted's. Looks like we have Holly and Lucky to the right of our scale and Honey Bear over by the window den. Now, what we have given our bears is a popsicle, and pretty much what this is fruit juice mixed in with some fruits, frozen fruits like frozen strawberries and blueberries, and then we just freeze it in a little plastic bowl and give it to our bears. Now, these enrichment opportunities are a time for our bears to show off their dexterity and simple problem-solving skills, and make attaining food a little bit more challenging to stimulate their brain just a little bit more. It looks like Holly and Lucky, those 2 to the far, they're hanging. They're really good friends. They have a very positive relationship. Holly is a yearling, and so she's about 1.5 years old, and Lucky is a 7-year-old male. Now, this relationship would not occur in the wild. Typically, a bear Holly age would be treed right away by any other more established or older bear. And that is because yearlings at this point in time, so after about 17 months of being with their mother, the mom will kick out their yearling and they'll be on their own. And so they don't really have a territory, they don't really know where the food is, they're not protected by their mom anymore. And so usually an older bear like Lucky, who's 7, would tree little Holly Bear, so chase her up a tree. However, we see a very different relationship here, and actually these 2 are very, very playful with each other. And they will run around trees, they'll roll over and bat each other a little bit. Very positive, very content relationship. Lucky is very patient with little Holly. He's very gentle with her. And we're very happy to see this relationship develop. And as you can see, they're both very content. They're sitting down, eating. They're aware that each other is that close to each other, but they're not really doing anything about it. Now, bears in the wild are extremely solitary, black bears are. They're very timid and like to remain unseen. Now, Honey Bear has a very different temperament towards our yearling than Lucky. Honey will actually chase Holly Bear up a tree, and she's done so a few times today already. And so if Holly gets too close to Honey, Honey will actually chase her up a tree. Now, Honey Bear, she is a cinnamon phase black bear. Many people say, oh, she's brown, she must be a brown bear. But no, she is in fact a North American black bear who happens to be cinnamon in color. Now, this is extremely rare. Only about 5% of bears in Minnesota are this cinnamon phase. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, when you see a bear, it will be the color of Lucky and Holly. Honey Bear was born in captivity. She was born on a game farm in Wisconsin, and then purchased a private party where she was raised for the first 10 years of her life. They could no longer keep her after those 10 years, and so the North American Bear Center received her in 2007, which is the same year that we opened. Now, Lucky and Holly, it looks like they're actually sharing a popsicle, which, once again, very uncommon behavior for black bears. In the wild, food is very important to black bears, and you would really not see the sharing behavior going on. But we suspect that Lucky has taken on somewhat of a brotherly role towards little Holly Bear. And we actually think that he may have learned this behavior. And how would he have learned this? Well, when Lucky was Holly's age, so when he was just a yearling, 7 years ago, Ted, our fourth ambassador bear here, actually played with Lucky and took on a brotherly type of role. And so we suspect Lucky is treating Holly how he was treated by Ted. And black bears have exceptional long-term memory. They're very smart, and their behavior is very interesting. Anyway, Holly Bear here, I'll talk a little bit about her background. She was born in the wild in Arkansas and was separated from her mother by a wildfire. She eventually then was found by the Arkansas DNR and then taken to a rehab facility where they tried to make her releasable to the wild. However, this was not possible. And so she needed to find a forever home, and that home was the North American Bear Center. Now, we received Holly December 27th of 2013, so right around Christmas time, which is where she gets her name, Holly. And she has been here ever since. She has grown in confidence every day and developed into a happy little yearling that she is right now. Now, Lucky Bear, the other bear that was out with little Holly, he is 330 pounds and 7 years old. So he is technically a sub-adult. He may grow a little bit more, but usually around 8 years old is when males hit maturity. And Lucky was also born in the wild in Wisconsin and was actually physically removed from his den by a person. So someone probably happened upon a black bear den and saw cute little cubs and were like, oh, I want one, and took Lucky out of the den, which is not a good idea. He was then eventually picked up by the Wisconsin DNR and deemed unreleasable. And so little Lucky, this little bear, needed to find a home. And that home was the North American Bear Center. Now, we received Lucky the same year that we opened in 2007, and so it was very lucky timing for us, and very lucky timing for this little bear, which is where he gets his name, Lucky. Lucky is extremely playful. You folks may notice that there is a yellow ball and a rubber ducky in our pond. And Lucky Bear has been known to play with these toys very frequently, and usually on hot days when it's sunny, he will be in that pond, no problem, multiple times a day. Now, black bears can outswim, outrun, and outclimb people. They're very strong animals, and they are very well adapted for climbing. They have very long, curved, sharp claws that aid in their ability to climb. Now, Lucky and Holly, they still climb trees very regularly. Whereas Honey Bear, over here, she does not climb trees. And so when Honey decides to chase Holly Bear away, we're not too worried about Holly. Holly's much faster, and she can climb trees no problem. And so she's safe from Honey Bear. Now, black bears live in a matriarchal society, and so Honey here, being 18 years old, is very established and runs the show. She makes all the decisions, calls all the shots. And so we suspect that she sees little Holly as somewhat of an intruder into her area, and she is introverted. She really does not like to be around other bears. She likes at least 30 feet between her and any other bears. And when these bears do intrude in that 30 feet, usually she'll give off some vocalizations. And black bears are vocal animals, and those vocalizations can say a lot about how a black bear is feeling. And so Honey, let's say, feels uncomfortable or doesn't want a bear any closer to her, she will huff and click and grunt a little bit to tell the other bear, I don't like the situation. You need to go. When black bears are newborn, they are very vocal as well. Now, all black bears are born in the month of January, which is over hibernation. They then stay with their mothers for 17 months. Mating season is June, and so the 2nd May that these bears are with their mother, they are kicked out. The mom is like, you are on your own because I need to go mate and have more cubs. And so Holly Bear, our little yearling, would be on her own right now. And like I kind of mentioned before, she would be chased off and not tolerated by other bears. However, because black bears live in a matriarchal society and Holly is a female, she would actually inherit some of her mother's territory, whereas a male, her age, would inherit no territory from its mother and would be on its own to find or compete for a new territory. So the year of a yearling, the life of a yearling can be quite difficult. They spend a lot of their time up in trees being chased away by more established bears, older bears, stronger bears. And they have trouble sometimes finding food. However, here at the North American Bear Center, they never have a bad food year or really have to worry that much about getting any food or competing for food. We are their main food source. And I mentioned that Holly is by the scale, and that wooden box is our scale. And we do weigh our bears every Tuesday. Tuesday's weigh day. Oh, looks like Honey's huffing and puffing at our little yearling. She does not like Holly Bear around. And Holly Bear doesn't really want to be around Honey either when she's angry, and so she'll scamper off usually. But I'm sure you folks on the deck heard some great vocalizations from our honey bear. She is very, very not tolerant of Holly. Anyway, we weigh our bears every Tuesday, and that is because we are their main food source, and we have to keep track that we're not feeding them too much or too little. And as you can see right now, that can be a challenge when Honey is eating part of either Holly or Lucky's popsicle. We also have some wild foods in our bear enclosure. It is 2.5 acres enclosed by 2 electric fences. And there's a lot of bear foods in this enclosure. And what are bear foods? What do bears eat? Well, they're omnivores. They are not carnivores. They don't strictly eat meat. They don't hunt for things. They don't stalk prey. They're not predators. And so, majority of their diet is vegetation. So white clover is one of their favorites, and you folks may notice that we have a bunch of it planted. They also like grasses and leaves and flower parts. Berries and nuts are another huge part of a black bear's diet, along with bugs. That is where they get their protein. And so ant and bee larvae are their favorite. They're very high in protein. Otherwise, only 10% of a black bear's diet is protein. And they do not typically prefer raw meat, but they are opportunistic. So in a bad food year, or if they get a whiff of, let's say, some deer remains from a wolf kill, they will eat that raw meat. But they will not usually hunt anything. We have a bunch of wildlife in our enclosure. We have squirrels and ducks, and our bears pretty much leave them alone. We have 4 bears here at the North American Bear Center. We have Honey, Lucky, and Holly. Oh, there's High Falls. Holly Bear came scooting out. There she is. Holly Bear is very intrigued by moving water as well. And sometimes when we have a hose and we're filling up their water, she'll try and slap the so she's very curious. But she's keeping an eye on Honey Bear, and she's like, oh, no, she's still here. I'm out of here. See ya. I'm not dealing with this. Scampering off. And behind the falls, if you folks on the deck can see, there's a fallen tree, a deadfall. And that is one of the initial places our little Holly took refuge when she was introduced to our 2.5 acres. And as you can see, she still seeks refuge in that deadfall. Now, on windy days like today, black bears are extra skittish, extra timid. And that's because they have big ears and a very, very good sense of hearing, and rely very heavily on that sense of hearing to see where other bears are. Oh, looks like she's to the far left. She's climbed up a fallen over tree. Holly bear loves to climb. She's an expert climber. But on windy days like today, black bears get uncomfortable and frightened more easily because they rely so heavily on their sense of hearing, and that hearing is very exceptional. They can hear at higher and lower frequencies than humans, and on windy days it sounds like a white noise kind of, and it really intervenes with their ability to tell where things are coming from. And also their sense of smell also is affected by wind. They can't tell where smells are coming from, and so usually on days like today, bears will not spend a lot of time moving around because they can't really tell where things are. Now Holly bear has made it to our cedar out front, and this is another tree Holly loves to climb, especially when Honey Bear is in the vicinity, which she is. But I think Holly Bear is a little hungry, so she's taking her chances with Honey Bear out and about. I also just saw Lucky to the far right too, so he's lurking around, I'm sure looking for some food. Now Holly, even a few weeks ago, she would not get this close to Honey at all. But as you can see, she's becoming more and more used to her, and will actually get close to her if there's food available. Black bears are very food driven. Oh, there's Lucky coming. And I'm sure Honey's huffing and puffing over to the right. She's like, I'm out of here. I do not want to deal with you two. But this is not the first time we've seen Lucky come in between Holly and Honey. And we don't know if it's coincidence or intentional, but we do think he is taking on somewhat of a big brother type of role. And Holly Bear actually does take cues from Lucky and does some of his similar behaviors. I think they're about to play soon, so hopefully we'll see some great play interaction to the right. And once again, Lucky could easily, if he was annoyed, just take one paw and push her out of the way and be like, get out of here. But he's very patient with her, very gentle. And as you can see, they can stand up on their hind two legs. And when Holly does that, we call her Ninja Bear because her arms are up to the side and she looks like a little ninja. Anyway, those are our 4 bears we have here, and I'll let you folks on the deck watch and see if you see any more play interaction or chasing interaction. Otherwise, thank you guys for visiting us today on this really cold, rainy day. It's like 50 degrees here in Ely. Pretty terrible. And to our worldwide listeners, thank you guys. And our worldwide volunteers, thank you guys so much for dedicating and volunteering your time to make these broadcasts possible. So thank you. We are open until 7 today, and the day pass you guys purchased today is a full day pass, so feel free to come and go as you want. Go grab some dinner and come on back before 7 o'clock. Another great place to go is the International Wolf Center. If you folks are interested in Minnesota wildlife, might get to see some pretty cool wolves they have at the International Wolf Center, which is at the opposite end of Ely. So you have to drive through the town of Ely, and it's on the right side. Otherwise, thank you to wherever you are, and I hope... Oh, Holly Bear she's back. She's running. Otherwise, thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoy your day wherever you are. And if you're in Ely, I hope you stay dry and warm. Thank you, and have a good one.